The 12 Labors of Heracles. The circus strongman, in his animal skin leotard, has a distant cousin in Greek myth. In fact, that relative is one of Greece's greatest heroes, Heracles. The Romans called him Hercules. Like those circus strongmen, Heracles was known for his animal skin cloak and his fabulous strength. With that strength, Heracles performed 12 of the hardest deeds in the history of myth. Insane strength. And here are some references to that. Strongman, greatest heroes, fabulous strength, hardest deeds in the history of myth. What could the strongest man in the world have to fear? Strong or not, every sensible Greek feared and respected the gods. Even Heracles, the strongest man among all the Greek heroes. This means out of every hero, and there are many, Heracles had to be particularly wary of Hera, Zeus's queen. This powerful goddess was always jealous of her husband's lovers and the children they bore him, the children that his lovers had. So naturally, she hated Heracles, who was the son of Zeus and the mortal woman Alchemy. This paragraph explains why Hera hated him. Here's the evidence. Heracles is particularly wary of Hera, or needs to be particularly wary of Hera. Hera hated Heracles, and Heracles was the son of Zeus and the mortal woman Alchemy. That's the evidence. From the day he was born, Hera declared war on Heracles, while he was still a babe in the crib. She sent 2 serpents to kill him, but Heracles was quick. He seized the serpents with his chubby little hands and choked the life out of them. Wow, strong baby. From that day on, Heracles' family knew he had a great role to play, so they tried to prepare him for it. He was taught everything by the masters of each skill. He's well-rounded. The masters of each skill, and he was taught everything. He learned how to shoot with a bow and arrow. He perfected his fighting abilities and learned how to drive a chariot. He also trained to play the lyre and sing. While he was mastering his lessons, Heracles continued to grow at an amazing rate. He was soon much stronger and taller than other young men. But with this strength and stature came a hot temper. This was a deadly mix. Why deadly? Meaning, why could it cause death? This was a deadly mix, as it soon turned out. One day, Heracles argued with his music teacher. The teacher found fault with Heracles and hit him. Heracles' face instantly turned a fierce red. Enraged, he picked up the harp, struck the man, and killed him. Death. So this is why his temper and his strength was a deadly mix. Heracles was not accused of murder since the teacher had struck first, but after the incident, he was sent to work on a cattle farm. Heracles' family knew he would master great things in the future, but they also knew he first had to master his temper. That's a good lesson in life. While at the farm, Heracles killed a lion who had been slaughtering cattle. He also gathered an army of men from Thebes and led a battle against the king of a nearby city. This king had held the city of Thebes under his thumb, so he was fighting for good here. Here's the evidence. He led a battle against the king of a nearby city. Heracles won the battle and set the people of Thebes free. The king of Thebes, Creon, was so happy with Heracles that he allowed his daughter to marry the hero. For a time afterwards, Heracles enjoyed a glorious life, but Hera was standing by, still ready to destroy him at any chance. Is this a hint? Is this foreshadowing? After Heracles and his wife had a few children, Hera saw her chance. The cruel goddess struck the hero with madness, and in that madness Heracles killed his wife and children. That is and was an intense sin, a very deep sin. When Heracles came to his senses and saw what he had done, he dropped to his knees. "Oh, mighty gods," he wept, "why have you made me do this? How can I ever cleanse my bloody hands of this deed?" Think back to the title of the Heracles Labors. Maybe this is where the labors come in. How can I ever cleanse my body, my bloody hands of this deed? The answer came to Heracles as clearly as if Zeus himself spoke. Go to Delphi. So Heracles quickly set off for the great god Apollo's oracle. Once there, Heracles learned from the oracle that to make up for the crime, he must serve Eurystheus for 12 years. Heracles was to perform any service that this prince of Mycenae asked of him. Of Mycene. He was to perform any service that this prince of Mycene asked of him. Heracles obeyed and immediately sought out Eurystheus. Little did the hero realize that Hera was already ahead of him. She had visited Eurystheus and found him eager to bring Heracles' downfall. The prince had heard tales of the brave, handsome Heracles and burned with jealousy. This means trouble. Hera was ahead of him. She was planning to make it really bad for him. Handsome Heracles and burned with jealousy. This is circled here because this is real trouble for Heracles. He was only too happy to plan 12 impossible labors or tasks for Heracles. The tasks would be so dangerous that no one could survive them. Heracles didn't know of these plots, yet he did know from the minute he met the prince that they wouldn't get along. Heracles eyed Eurystheus as the prince leaned back in his lovely throne. Many guards stood close by, ready to do all the prince's fighting for him. So this says something about Eurystheus, the prince. Not strong, not brave. That guy sounds a lot like Ares, the god of war. Heracles couldn't respect a man like that, but it was his penance to serve Eurystheus. So serve him he would. Penance means it's what he had to do to make up for his terrible, terrible sin where he killed his wife and kids. Heracles swallowed his disgust. Prince, I humble myself to do your will, he said. I'll do whatever you command. Eurystheus stared at Heracles and grinned. Heracles hated him even more. Excellent, Heracles. I do have a few things I want you to undertake. Again the prince paused and smiled. First, a small thing, and this is where the labors begin. So the first labor. Again the prince paused and smiled. First, a small thing. I want you to bring back the skin of the lion of Nemean. First labor. It's nothing like the animal you supposedly killed in your cattle farming. Bring me its skin at once. Eurystheus chuckled as Heracles set out on his task with bow and arrows and a heavy club. What the scheming prince didn't tell Heracles was the secret of the lion's strength. The odds are stacked against him, meaning it's going to be even more difficult than he could imagine. Heracles didn't stop to rest until he got to the thick wood of Nemean. There he met an old man on the path. Good day, fellow, Heracles said. Could you tell me where the great lion lives? The old man shook at the mention of the lion. Never fear, I'm here to kill him, Heracles quickly added. The old man took a closer look at the body towering over him. Heracles? Yes, I'm Heracles, and I'm here to help your city. At this the old man's eyes brightened. He eagerly pointed his wrinkled finger toward the thickest part of the forest. At nightfall I see him coming from there. Ah, many thanks, old fellow. Fearless Heracles was off at once. This is a sign that he is confident. Fearless Heracles was off at once, without any hesitation. Further evidence of his confidence. He marched into the dark wood forest. Long after nightfall, Heracles stopped in front of a cave. Long after nightfall, Heracles stopped in front of a cave. He thought if he were a lion, he'd make his den in there. And sure enough, as Heracles cautiously entered, he found the remains of a deer. Heracles tucked himself behind a rock and waited. Before dawn, the lion padded into his den and plopped his huge body down. He yawned and slowly licked his bloody mouth. Suddenly, the lion raised his nose to the air. Something was different. At once, Heracles leapt from his hiding place and shot an arrow straight at the beast. To his astonishment, he saw it slide off the tough hide of the lion. The lion gave an angry growl and spun toward Heracles. Quickly, Heracles let loose another arrow. This time, he hit the beast directly in the chest. But again, the arrow bounced to the ground. Can he be killed? At this point, that's what you should be thinking. Can he even be killed? Can the lion be killed? The lion's eyes narrowed, focusing on Heracles. Giving a savage roar, it sprang. As it rushed forward, Heracles raised his club. With a loud crack,